What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Burrow77 here this week with my main man, Brad Thomas, who I know is riding high off a nice Juventus win.
Let's go, baby.
Brad is a excellent colleague of mine. We've worked together at BetUS. We've worked together in a couple of different Discords. We've both started doing our own stuff. We wanted to get together, have a couple of guys do some shows for you. We're going to start right in with AC Milan versus Feyenoord. And I got to say, I think Milan can bounce back here. I think Feyenoord did a really good job at home in their building, which we knew was going to be lit. It's a very, very tough place to go and try and play on a European night. The San Siro is the same way. But what I've seen from this AC Milan team, including over the weekend, has not been inspiring, and they do not make me believe that they're a minus 235 favorite whatsoever. They only have a single goal differential to make up here, so I kind of like the team total, but at over 1.5 minus 210, that's a trash number. And you're giving me Feyenoord just to score at minus 150, but you have the line on this game set at over 2.5 minus 150. I'm not sure how they think there's 3 goals in this game at these numbers. Like, they just don't correlate for me. So I like Feyenoord to score here for sure. Because this AC Milan backline is just atrocious. Kyle Walker's not the same Kyle Walker. That's why he was available. I think Emerson Royale was a terrible money spend this summer. I think that Morata was a terrible money spend. Thank God they were able to unload him in Turkey, which I'm sure they're still paying part of that contract for, because you're an idiot. You gave Morata a 4-year. You gave this Morata a 4-year deal, not Juve Morata, not Madrid Morata. You gave Atleti washed ass Morata 4-year deal. So you're probably still paying some money on that. I kind of like Feyenoord here on a spread plus 1.25. I don't super love half wins, but it's a good number at minus 115. I might eat the juice and pay like minus 140-ish to get that to 1.5. I see both teams to score here. I could potentially see the over 2.5. I'm still going to, when we get into predicted starting 11s, like, I'll talk some player props, but I'm going to keep riding the Jimenez revenge angle. Like, I can't not do it.
Dude, no, I agree. Listen, I'm actually on the other train of thought here for me, and I'm just going to keep having to fade Feyenoord. They've been much, like you said, they've been much better at home, but away from home, across all competitions, they've lost like 3 of their last 5. And 2 of those, they got not lost. They went winless. Excuse me. Let me make that a little more correct.
Right.
They got blanked in a couple of those matches. Even against Milan, they had an XG of less than half a goal, right? So for me, I'm going to have to fade them. I went with Milan, but you touched on a good point here. I have some cause for concern about Milan putting on a massive performance, right? So when we start to get the minus 125, the minus 150s, we start to get a little more dicey. I went with minus 1.
Okay.
I think they get the win here, but 2-1.
You'll take a push for a 1-goal win.
Yeah, it does not surprise me at all. I have liked Milan from the Milan that was under Fonseca. I didn't like that Milan. I think that Conceição, while it's still a big work in progress, I think the progress is getting better, right? Like outside of that loss against Feyenoord, and which was a match where they definitely played to not show much, to go not get down early, and it backfired against them. It's hard to just snap that into gear. But outside of that, like, they've been pretty good, right? And good, relative speaking, right? Good compared to what they were under Fonseca. Picking up the draw against Inter in the derby there. They beat Roma. They beat Empoli. Lost to Feyenoord, like we said, but then beat Verona. Yes, they were uninspiring against Verona, but sometimes you have those matches.
Pulisic. So to me, like, sorry to cut you off.
You're good. You're good.
To me, they gave up on that Feyenoord game when they took Pulisic off. He was, without a doubt, your best offensive player, your best creator. He was doing the most for you and you come out, and yes, I know it's Verona, and yes, I know you have Champions League to look forward to. And look, you're probably out of the Scudetto race, but like, you're fucking AC Milan, dude.
Yeah.
You're behind only Real Madrid when it comes to European prestige. If you're gonna rest Pulisic versus Verona like that, you better come out and lay the hammer. Like you need to hang three. You need to
Need to.
hang a three-piece on Feyenoord.
I just feel like this is just a blessing waiting to happen on Feyenoord. I don't rate them that high. So I went with the -1 there.
Yeah, look, and like I said, neither of us like the 1.25. We don't like half wins.
Yeah.
We don't like half losses. I see why you're going with the -1. I think I could probably get to a -1 because I could see this going to extra time and going to PKs. But let's take a look at the predicted 11s and let's talk a little player prop action. Pacquiao, however you say his name.
I shall.
Paixão, thank you. I heard it a ton on the announcements. I should be a much better presenter and look up these pronunciations before I do these shows, but I barely have time to get graphics in and get a good night's sleep, so I just kind of make it up on the fly. But Paixão absolutely ate Kyle Walker's lunch, dude, and this guy's been good all season. This is a guy I've talked about kind of all Champions League. You're giving me his shot on target at plus 120 over on Bet 365. That's an absolutely must play number for me. Plus 110 over on Caesars. Minus 125, minus 135 is stretching it a little bit for me. So shop around, make sure you find the best number there. But I got to get involved with Paixão here, and I'm not sure this starting 11's accurate. But if Julian Carranza does start, he's a Philly Union legend, and I just have to take him on that alone. That's my bias for being an MLS fan who's a Philly Union supporter. I got a God's Dog jersey kit in my locker. I've gone out and seen Philly at their stadium a couple of times with Leg. Like, I'm just a Philly guy when it comes to soccer, so I would have to bet Carranza, but other than that, there's not a ton of player props I'm looking at from the Feyenoord side. But Paixão, plus money for a shot on target, he absolutely ate Kyle Walker's lunch. I'm happy to take that.
It's tough. The player props on this one are pretty tough because, like, they're like the matches where I want to eat is when there's not a lot of people that are cooking in the kitchen.
Yep.
Like, if you look at the starting 11 for Milan, they have a ton of dudes who it could be their day. Right? Yeah. Like, Reinder's normally my go-to. Even his number got ballooned up because of them being in that negative aggregate score. Leao, hit or miss every time. Jimenez, I would have played him.
No, I'm with you. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I can't trust Leao for shit, dude.
I wouldn't put.
I've been very vocal about it.
I don't even I wouldn't even put a free play on that dude, bro.
Look, they should have taken the 100 million they got the offer from Saudi for, because they're like, in my opinion, and I've gotten a lot of blowback from a lot of Italian AC Milan fans that, oh, well, you're being too critical of Leao. No, dude, you guys wanted to call him world class. If you want to call him world class, that means you got to be top 5 at your position, and he's flat out not even close.
Yeah. One bet that I see, this what sucks also without getting the lineups here. One bet that I'm really interested in, but I feel like I can't play him without it, is João Felix, 2+ shots on target. It's plus 210 on FanDuel. The dude loves to shoot, and instead of him, I can't remember what his shot number is, but I think it's like 3.5. Instead of taking him over 3.5 at minus 125, you literally can just take him 2 shots on target plus 200, because let's say if he gets 50% shot accuracy, you're doubling up your money and you don't have to invest as much.
Facts. And that's the other problem with this AC Milan offense. I really like high-flying, high-powered offenses. I thought this offense was decent, before the summer transfer window. I didn't love the Murata signing. I didn't love what they were getting out of Tammy Abrams. I thought going out and getting Jimenez was a great move. I'm going to play Jimenez anytime goal at plus 135 for the revenge angle. He scored again over the weekend. I just have to do it. I love Christian Pulisic. I want to take him to score or assist, but I'm not going to lay juice to do it on a straight. It'll be something I include in a parlay. And, look, I don't hate Yao Felix, and he might be able to help Leao get better because of the Portuguese connection there and playing on the national team together. But this is a lot of mouths to feed, especially knowing how much Rangers loves to shoot and how much Theo Hernandez loves to bomb up that left-hand side. Like, everybody wants this ball for AC Milan, so finding where the volume's coming from is going to be tough, especially against a team like Feyenoord, who, look, I know enough about Feyenoord to be passable and to get through UCL, but I don't know Feyenoord's lineup like I know Madrid's lineup. Like, I don't know their weak spots. I don't know who's bad at moving to their right or who's going to fall and who's going to hack here. I just, for me, it's too many mouths to feed. I'm going to keep it limited on this because we're getting trash value on AC Milan at home.
I want all of Milan action. I want that Jimenez revenge angle. Anytime I feel like a guy's at home on like a recent revenge, it cashes. That's what it feels like to me.
I'm with you. I like it. And he did score again over the weekend. So
yeah,
I'm kind of pissed he didn't score at Feyenoord in his old stomping grounds, where you kind of got to think, hey, he knows his spots there. Weather was a little adverse, so I will kind of make that excuse, but you're AC Milan. You got to handle your business here.
What I heard this from Damian Lillard when he went back to Portland, and they were like asking why he didn't like play well his first time going back to Portland. And he was saying, like, there's so much going on, right? Like, you go connect with your friends and family back in where you're at. Then you go and connect with your coaches. Then you get on the court and you have all of these feelings of like memories that you had here. He's like, sometimes it takes away from your like the way you feel, or it distracts you a little. Could have happened with Santi as well,
Oh, for sure. And think about how long Dame got to rest before he had to go back to Portland. We're talking under 2 weeks before this dude had to go back to Feyenoord and play his old team. You can other people can argue with me all they want about this. The fact of the matter is, this trade got done during their last UCL match, because there's no way they take a healthy Jimenez off away at Leao if he's able to play his first game registered and dressing for Milan. He didn't get injured in that game. The trade happened and Milan made the call like, yo, Santi bagged a goal. Get him the fuck off the pitch. You're qualified. You're going through. Find another way to get the points in Leao, because we're buying Jimenez and we want him off the pitch right now.
Depending on what happens in this game, I like to always kind of talk about a little bit of the live angles to look at. If Feyenoord score within the first 30 minutes of this match, you should just unload on Milan total corners. I'm pulling it up right now. You should unload on Milan total corners. Right now, their team totals is 7.5. If Feyenoord score within the opening 20 minutes, it's going to bump up to 8.5. Hammer. If it's in the first 35 minutes, it's going to, depending on how many they have. Let's say they have 2, it'll probably be 9.5, 10.5. Hammer. Corner spread, hammer. All of that is tasty. Put in perspective, they're projecting Milan to win the first half corner spread 3-3 in the first half. So they'll probably put it at 5.5 for full game, 6.5 full game. That is a smash. And I'm not rooting for that to happen because I'm already on -1, but that's just to equip you if you're ready to rock and roll.
Facts. And I think that if you think Feyenoord can score first, which, I think if Feyenoord's smart, that's how they come out and play this. They're going to try and, they know Paschal ate Walker's lunch. They're going to try and get him the ball. If I'm Feyenoord, I want to come out standing on the throttle. I want to get that first goal. So I have a 2-goal lead in the San Siro. And now the pressure's on AC Milan to respond in front of their fans that are already having a rough season who might get in their ear about it. Feyenoord to score first is plus 300. Might be worth a little flyer.
It'll be interesting to see. This is the first, what I consider a high leverage, high stakes situation that Bouchard, or Pascal Bouchard, their coach, their manager, has ever managed in. And we have no historical data to see what's going to happen. So I'm really excited to see like how the start of this game happens. I'm actually really excited to see like what they do formation wise, lineup wise. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Obviously, I am a soft AC Milan fan. They're kind of my club over there in Italy. A lot of it has to do with the fact that they have Pulisic, and a lot of it also has the fact to do with, that's part of Don Carlo's legacy as well. So, anyway, appreciate you guys tuning in as always. We're going to do a long video, and I'm going to cut this up into shorts as always. You can find all that information right down here and subscribe, youtube.com/@Baroque772, as well as all of Brad's information. Brad has a Discord. He does the BetUS show with Flash for the EPL. All that information is going to be linked right down here below in the description. And we will see you back here shortly to talk Atalanta versus Bruges. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Baroque77 here with my main man, Brad Thomas. We're looking at Atalanta versus Bruges, and I told you guys last week, do not sleep on this Bruges club. They are fucking nasty, and we're only getting more value on their player props. I told you about Jangala. I told you about Tizzoli. I told you about Decipher. Bird even mentioned Onlike. I forget his name. I'll pull it up here in a second when we get to the player prop market, but this Bruges club is nasty. Now, are they nasty enough to go on the road and play Atalanta in Atalanta's brand spanking new state-of-the-art facility in front of this Atalanta home crowd where they are reigning Europa champs? They have a little bit of European pedigree. They have a good manager, but I am worried about this team without Lookman. They have looked suspect without Lookman. He is a major part of what they do. I think Bruges on the spread here at +1 is really good because I could very much see this going to extra time and PKs, because one thing Bruges does really, really well is they are able to defend and they are able to play for draws, especially on the road, almost kind of like, like a Juve or like an Inter. They have a very strong midfield. They play that 3-5-3 or 3-5-2 kind of deal. And I don't know, man. And it's not like they don't have pace. Like Atalanta leaves themselves open at the back. That's just what they do. Their philosophy is, we're going to score more goals than you. We're going to take more attempts than you. We're going to dominate the ball, but we're going to do it in your third. And when we turn it over, we're going to live with the fact that we got to chase back, and sometimes we're going to cough one up. And Bruges is perfectly capable of moving on the counter here. So I kind of like both teams to score. I definitely like this over 2.5. And I think Bruges is perfectly capable of getting one. But I could also maybe see them grinding out an extra time, forcing extra time or PKs with a 2-1 loss. I could maybe see them gutting out a 1-1 draw too. I know I said I like the over 2.5. It's hard for me not to back Atalanta to score twice at home here, and that's why they're -170. But I have a really tough time thinking Bruges can't score on the road, and I have a really tough time seeing this game stay at 1-1, but it's possible. I think I don't want to be in that situation where I'm backing Bruges on a draw at like +340 or Bruges on a draw no better at double chance at a +0.05, and then we get extra time added on in the 85th minute. Instead of it being 5 minutes left in the match, it's actually 17 minutes left in the match. So, I just don't want to have that sweat. I think the +1 is very playable, meaning that this game would need to go to extra time and or PKs for me to cash in regulation. I think the +1 is worth a look here at -110. And I know you can find a better number than that because my odds shopping tool has removed all books except for DraftKings when it comes to Asian handicaps. So I didn't have time to manually shop this one around, but I know you can find a little bit better number than -110 out there.
Yeah, this match is interesting. And I'm going to talk about this one on BetUS as well. And this is pretty much what I'm going to say. I don't want to be in this situation where Atalanta come out here and they roll and I don't have a ticket on it. I was in the exact same situation when they're away from home. However, that was never a good bet. I don't think betting on Atalanta was ever a good bet. And I knew that the second I bet it. Sometimes you get drawn in. Bruges had gone through this rough patch. Every team goes through it, right? Goes through this rough patch domestically. It started about middle of January, and it kind of spilt over. They go up against Genk in league leaders, Genk in the cup match, pull out a nice result there, and looks like it tends to turn around. Well, then they parlayed that success into a really good match against Atalanta. Unlike Feyenoord, Bruges deserved every bit of that 3 points, that winner there. They deserve to be up on aggregate. So I can't come out here and say this Bruges team is gonna go out and get steamrolled. I went with Atalanta. I'm gonna trust Gasperini. A couple reasons here. Gasperini knows how to win in advance in these kind of matches. They've won 7 out of 12 home matches so far this season. Pretty good.
Yep.
Expected goal differential plus 0.9, which is almost +1. You have to remember that's at home. That's including 3 draws and 2 losses. To have almost a 1 goal differential, expected goal differential at home with 5 losses or 5 where you're not getting
non-wins.
Non-wins, yeah, 5 non-wins where you're not gaining anything to that goal differential. It was enough value for me to take against the Belgium side. Granted, this is a good Belgium side. It's just the numbers justified it. But listen, if Bruges come out, they cover the 1 or they win this match or it comes in the draw, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm trusting Gasperini in this one.
Yeah, and look, Gasperini is a very good manager. He's very tested in Europe. Obviously, they're the reigning Europa champs, beat a Leverkusen team that was going for an undefeated triple. So I can't take anything away from him there. My big thing is, we'll talk about it here now that we have we can get into player props too, is just this team without Lookman lacks a little bit of an identity. Pasalic just isn't really that guy. And he's especially not that guy this year. He looked a lot better last year, but he's got I went back and looked at, the historical data. It's like he runs hot one year and then he runs cold the next. He runs hot, he runs cold. This just seems to kind of be his cold cycle.
Yeah.
But I love this Atalanta midfield, and I think there's a bunch of value in this Atalanta midfield. I mentioned last week with Nick and Leg that I was worried about Zappacosta getting some volume with Posh behind him.
Yeah.
It didn't end up mattering because they both got what I needed out of them. Posh to take a single shot at plus money was disrespectful. I don't think we're going to get that kind of number here, especially at home. And Zappacosta, he's just going to keep jacking, dude.
Yeah.
He kind of default becomes the wing here because Retegui plays so much centrally, and he needs to. I do like the CDK revenge angle at home. I know it didn't cash for us last time, but CDK's been in a little bit of a cold spell. I'll take CDK to score or assist. No problem here, especially if it's a plus number. But as far as the Bruges side goes, Tizolis is plus money for a shot on target again. He obviously scored last game. Jungala is plus money for a shot on target again. I got to take that. Oyendike, number 15 here in the midfield. Bird had him for a shot at plus money. He got a shot on target. I think he took 2 shots. Decipher, left back, who is, his game's not like Theo, or isn't a direct comp to Theo Hernandez, but he's going to bomb forward and he's going to get involved in that offense at left back. So I always take Decipher for a shot at plus money. I like him for a shot on target. He occasionally takes PKs. I don't think he will, because he didn't in that late game situation, even when Tazolas and Jungala were off the field. So, I'm not banking on him to take a PK, but he takes all their free kicks and he's nasty with them. So I could see him maybe netting a goal direct from free kick if he really wants it. And if he's in his bag that day, but there's a ton of value on guys just to do one thing here on Bruges. And that's my favorite bet. When I just need a guy to put one shot on target or to take a single shot, that's my favorite play, is straight bets on guys at plus money to do one thing in a game. Look, they don't need goals here on aggregate, but like, you're on the road at Atalanta. You got to think you got to score to be in this game.
The interesting thing about the player props in this match is all of the value is on Bruges players and not Atalanta. So when I was looking through all the Atalanta players, every player is up at least 0.5 more than their typical shot prop. Yes, you are going to get a little bit more aggressive Atalanta side, but one thing that you really need to know, I think that's really important for anybody listening, is if it's not working, Gasparini's making changes.
Yup.
You could have a guy where you need 4 shots in Retegui, and he's sitting at 3 and comes out, gets yanked because it's not working. They haven't scored yet. Vice versa. If Atalanta go up 2, let's say score 2 early, you're toast. Gasparini's pulling that plug. So I think the Bruges props are the only ones. I actually passed. I couldn't find a prop here that I liked, that I was going to get down with. I actually think I'm going to take this match kind of cautious and just play it live. The only live angle I had on this one was I was going to, like, if Bruges score first, I was going to take Atalanta double chance. It's just zero reason not to be on Atalanta double chance when Bruges would be up 2 on aggregate away from home. Because at that point, even if it's late, Bruges do not care if they concede 1 late in the game and it becomes a draw. First half corner handicap is always good for Atalanta in a plus situation. Basically what I mean, where I think they're going to have more than 55% of the possession. Mm-hmm. It's just hella juiced. And I mean, corners are something you don't want to take super juiced pregame, because you're not, anything could happen. It could change that. That's more of a live bet, but that's kind of how I see this from a prop perspective.
I like it. I'm going to continue to bet Atalanta's midfield because they have shooters at all 4 positions here. Zappacosta's going to let it fly. Ederson's Brazilian as fuck. We know he loves to jack from outside the box. He's scored banger goals from outside the box and just inside the box. Bellanova is a low-key, like, guy who's not going to have a lot of volume, but when he takes a shot, he makes it count. So you can get Bellanova for a shot on target at like plus 190, plus 210 neighborhood. I love that. Ederson, like, the problem is we got a bunch of value that we cashed in a ton on Atalanta guys just to take a single shot away at Bruges. We're not going to see that in the reverse fixture here at home. So you're going to have to be a little bit more careful. I'm not super looking to climb the ladder on a bunch of these guys' shots because, again, I like taking guys who are targets on set pieces. I like guys to be able to do one thing. And as Brad was saying, if Atalanta is going to rack up a ton of corners, which they should at home, their set piece guys like Posh are going to come down in price. He's minus 155 to take a shot. We were getting him at plus 130 to take a shot last game. Bellanova's minus 200 to take a shot. We got him at a plus number last game. But Ederson to put a shot on target, Bellanova to put a shot on target, Zappacosta to take 2 shots, Posh to take a shot, all nice parlay pieces for me. I am going to get involved in the CDK revenge narrative to score or assist. And it's really hard to talk me out of dipping back into the Retegui well because he's Serie A's leading goal scorer. So if you're going to give me Retegui at plus 110 at home, I'm going to take it. Like, I just have to.
No, I'm good on this one. Listen, and I think I've been pretty by doing this like with Atalanta pretty much all season. Is there a team I don't do too much pregame? Don't do
Yeah.
too much pregame. I mean, maybe it might be and I'm not even say it's my bugaboo team, but I think they just make so many changes where the style that I bet in gets screwed if I'm too deep in them.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you're looking at guys who to take 3 or 4 shots, especially, Retegui, CDK, Pasalic, stuff like that. Like, yeah, you're right. Gasparini will make changes if things aren't working. This is an elimination game at home in
Yeah.
their building, and they have depth. That's what happens when you win Europa and you have money to spend, and you're a legit Scudetto challenger. You have the money to spend to go out and get depth for this exact reason. So,
Yep.
yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm not trying to talk anybody out of taking Atalanta. They're at home. They are the more talented side. But this Bruges club is no joke. They might be a little bit more conservative here away from home. I might get burned on some of their props, but listen, the numbers are there. I'm gonna take the risk. I'm gonna take the flyer on Jugala, Tazolis, and Decipher, especially. Those are my guys. That's who I like from Bruges. And Bruges isn't a pushover. They're not gonna go quietly. Because they have a lot to play for. They have a lot of pride, and they are a good team. I was the only guy who liked Bruges, and I want to be clear, it's different on the road. Bruges in their building is a completely different team.
Yep.
Because you're at home, you're in Belgium, crowd's hostile. It's got a whole different energy when you're on the road at Atalanta. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not necessarily picking a side in this one. Or yeah, you know what? Go ahead. I'm gonna take Bruges on the +1. I'm gonna take
Nice.
Bruges on the +1.
Stand on it, bro. I freaking love that. Stand on it.
Yup. So give me Bruges on the +1. I'm gonna get involved in Bruges player props here. Give me CDK on the to score assist, and yeah, check me out on Twitter. Links to join the Discords are down here in the description. Mine's $15 a month. I do a show every week with Flash on Fridays at 7 p.m. that is available through Dub Club as well. Brad has his Discord. I will put all of those links down here below, and we will be back to talk Bayern versus Celtic here shortly. Until next time, I look forward to seeing you at the window. What's going on, guys? We got Bayern Munich versus Celta, and look, Bayern, they didn't look great. They didn't look great on the road. They really didn't. Now that said, they didn't look great for Bayern Munich. You gave up 2 goals early that both got VAR'd away. So you kind of came out by the skin of your teeth at the end of the first half by scoring a goal and then getting it to Kane, who made the decision not to use his head because he completely fucked a header the first time he tried it, and he just went high with his boot and took it on a no touch and just clean picked it out of the air for a nice goal there to start the second half. But then you kind of let off the gas and let Celtic back into this game. Now, obviously, this is Bayern at home in the Allianz. This is European legacy. This is, the weight of all of that comes into play. But this is a team that looked like absolute fucking dog shit on the road at Leverkusen. This Bayern team got off 2 shots the entire goddamn game against Leverkusen. Leverkusen ate their lunch. The fact that they didn't get a goal after going off the woodwork like 4 times was kind of a football injustice.
Yeah.
And that sucks if you're Leverkusen, because that game was kind of for the league. Bayern's now up like 7-8 points in the league. They have a huge goal differential on you. You really need Bayern to fumble because you don't have a head-to-head with them anymore. But all of that said, there's no way in hell you're talking me into laying 2.5 goals on this Bayern club. There's no way, like minus 650 doesn't even cut it as a parlay piece for me. You have their over-under total goals set at 3. And after the last 2 games I watched, what makes me think this Bayern Munich team is scoring 3? I mean, they came out after they gave up those goals that got VAR'd away for Celtic, you know, they looked good for like 20 minutes, and then they went like 25 minutes without a shot until stoppage time. And look, I want to still like Kasper Schmeichel because I did like him a lot, like over on that Leicester team, but he didn't play super well in France like a couple years ago when he got traded. He's been hit or miss for Celtic. He's a very streaky goaltender. I know his old man's going to be in the building, like with Paramount Plus. I don't know if that gives him some stand on his head powers, but like, I don't know. I think Bayern win the game in advance here at the Allianz. I have no confidence in them hanging a 3-piece or a 4-piece on them. You're not going to talk me into their team total over 3.5 at plus 150. I'm not going to lay juice on them to get 3 goals. I kind of like Celtic to get a goal at minus 125, but like, do I really? I don't know if I'm going to put real US currency on that. It's just a lean I have. I think this one's going to be tough to find a lot of value in, just because Bayern player props are gonna suck. Like they're at home at the Allianz and they expect them to score 3 goals. So finding value here is gonna be tough. It's not like when they're on the road. We got Kane at minus 110 or minus 120, whatever it was. He's minus 185 this week. Like I'm not paying minus 185 on anybody to score a goal. I don't care who you are. You could be Vinny, you could be Mbappe, you could be Haaland. I don't give a fuck. Nobody puts goals in the back of the net at a high enough clip for me to lay $2 to win 1.
No, hell no. Hell no. Dude, this is a tough match that for if you're trying to extract some value. And I think the only value that you can find is going to be on Celtic to score a goal. Yes, they've been shut out twice, right? They got shut out in Champions League for Zagreb and Atalanta. But you have to remember, those were like cagey, tough matches. I don't think this is going to be as cagey once Bayern score once or twice already, right? I think Bayern will score the first 2 goals of the match, go up 3 on aggregate, and then it's all up to Celtic just to have a little bit of the ball and play a little tough. I did lean Celtic plus the 2.5 there, but minus 135 for a team. Like, if there's a team that could get blessed, like, I mean, a team that could do the blessing, excuse me, it'd be Bayern Munich could do it. This is a team that can absolutely turn it on, especially after a standstill performance against Leverkusen where they were pretty bad. Man, listen, dude, I may get involved. I will have a bet in this game, not a side or total though. I may get involved in Celtic to score a goal, depending on what the price does. If it comes down, maybe at the minus 1, maybe minus 110, I'd get around with, but anything around the minus 125, minus 130, I can't, just because like this could just also, like, we know that company is a type of manager that loves to put his foot on the throat, but with just knowing you score 2 goals here, you score the first 2 goals of the match, you play really high press and play really aggressive. Those first 2 goals you convert, you can literally just chill, give your guys a break, because Celtic aren't coming back from a 3-goal aggregate. So it's one where I had to stay away from a side here, but I do think if I had to pick a best bet would be the over a half a goal, because even if Bayern go out there and they score 5, right, explode, you could still win money. Unlike the 2.5, Celtic could score a goal and they could still let in 5, and you're like, where the hell's all my money at? Oh yeah, it's down the drain.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you, because I think that's where the market's going to go. I think that, Bayern's a very public team. The Allianz is just an incredibly tough place to play. I think the money will kind of keep shifting in Bayern's favor. Company in Bayern, the thing with these elimination games, if you get up those 2 goals like we're talking, your biggest concern becomes cards, because Celtic are going to want to fight you. They know that their back's against the wall. You can't start picking up sloppy yellows or, God forbid, a red, because you have another game in this new tournament format. Your cards aren't wiping between this round and the next round, and they haven't wiped from qualifiers. They don't wipe until you get into the semifinals, which is a major change in UCL when it comes to card suspensions. So that's something you have to remember and keep an eye on here. The one thing I will say is, if I have to give a best bet, and it's got to be a plus money number, I'm going to take Joshua Kimmich to get involved in a goal. He's going to take the majority of their set pieces, be it free kicks or corners. You got Kane, who's gigantic as fuck and can finish pretty much anything. And he's taller than pretty much everybody on Celtic. So that's a giant forehead that you can't miss. And Joshua Kimmich is really, really nice. He can score direct from free kick. I've seen him hit Olympicos from the corner. And he just puts in really, really good service. So Joshua Kimmich to get on the score sheet at plus 155 at home in the Allianz in a year where he doesn't have a contract to come back to Bayern, and Madrid's been sniffing around. Go out on a high note, score, get on the score sheet for Champions League, plus 155 versus a poor Celtic team. Yeah, that's where I'm going to go with this.
Listen, I like a prop here. And, welcome back, Mr. Jota. Welcome back. I don't know if he's going to start, right? Like, there's a chance he doesn't. I also don't see Fiorashi in this predicted lineup. So, honestly, Celtic are in a good spot in terms of attacking players. It's just kind of what they want to do, right? They have like three different guys that could start up, three different guys that are different than this lineup that could start up top. But if Jota starts, I'm gonna play it on a book. I'm gonna play it on a book that voids. I'm gonna take Jota shot on target plus 162. Listen,
that.
just needs to find the frame once. If he starts, right? If he doesn't start, it voids. He's got pace, but he's also not going to be the main focus of that attack on the break, which I like. Like, he's not going to be the guy carrying the ball down the pitch, which means he's likely to get that ball that's sent across. You always want the guy to get on the end of that, and even if the goalkeeper catches it or he flicks it and he gets a tip on his mitts, it cashes. Man, this is a guy who a couple years ago scored double-digit goals for Celtic before he went out on loan. Now he's back. I think he can be a good contributor to this team, at least moving forward.
I agree with you. And I love that point too, because you got to assume that Ida or Medea is going to be doing the majority of the work, carrying the ball, springing the offense. So you're looking for that trailer guy in Jota. I also don't hate Medea to get a shot on target at plus 185. That's on FanDuel, so they won't void non-starters. So just, obviously do what you got to do. You guys know the deal. These are also elimination legs. I shouldn't have to rehash this every year, but I will. All bets are for 90 minutes plus stoppage time only. If they go into extra time or if they go to PKs, your bets from regulation will not carry over. That's just the way of the game. That's just how sportsbooks do it. So if you're going to give me Medea, who's going to be on PKs too, like, I'm going to take him at plus 185. And Ida, who I like, I think he's shown some promise, plus 150. Anybody on this front line from Celtic is like plus 150 or higher to get just put one shot on target. It just takes one counter. Byron's not so good defensively that they can't be beat. They've been cracked open by even like poor Bundesliga clubs. Like Holstein Kiel gets in the back of the net against them. St. Pauli's gets in the back of the net against them. And that'll happen when you can bless teams by 5 goals. You're not concerned about that, especially like we said, if they get up early and we see some rotation to help save guys' legs, if we see them subbed off for potential card situations, there's value in the Celtic guys here. And some of those markets will be available for you guys, for people to play live. I think anybody on this front line for Celtic is safe to take for one shot on target at plus 150 or better.
Yeah, I agree. And I will say this, anybody who is a non-legal gambler, make sure you are using either A, Prop Builder, or B, my bookie main page, because they include stop extra time in those wagers. Prop Builder or my bookie main page. Just remember that you get a little bit of an advantage, right?
Yep.
And it'll sometimes come into play if you're an online, if you're an offshore bettor.
It hasn't come up yet this year. I'll be interested to see. ESPN and formerly Barstool /Penn also had the same caveat on theirs last year for
wow.
Champions League. So that is something to look at if you're a heavy player prop better like I am. Take a look at those. It is always worth shopping around, and make sure you know the house rules of your sports book, because I use 12 different sports books. I can't tell you the house rules for everyone off the top of my head. I just know which ones have certain particular sets of house rules, and I shop and know those kind of as I'm going through them. And I will check for any updates here because it is going to be applicable. Last thing before we get out of here, Carter Vickers. Kind of like him for a booking. I know I've said it the last couple of matches, and he hasn't picked one up. He's just kind of a hack. Like, listen, I don't hate him for Team US, but he's not wearing the armband for Celtic anymore. He's getting a little up there, long in the tooth. Legs are getting a little heavy. Looks kind of tired to me. I don't know. Kind of a recipe for where you're going to need to be defending a lot, and there's going to be a lot of guys packed in the box. Could see him hacking, especially outside the box. I don't necessarily see him giving up a PK or anything like that, but I could see him picking up a booking here.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Sorry, this isn't a match we're super in love with, but we got plenty more coming up here. So we might have done a lot of talking, maybe not to get you anywhere other than to say that putting a shot on target for Celtic here from anybody in the top three is value. And gun to my head, give me Kimmich to find the score sheet. Plus 155. I think that's a really nice number for a guy who's going to take all the free kicks and the corners, where I think they're going to have a lot of free kicks and corners here. Be sure to follow us on Twitter. I am at Burroke77. You are at Lord BLT?
At Mr. Brad Thomas.
At Mr. BL Thomas. Lord BLT is the handle.
Yes, sir.
But you can find all that down here below in the video description as well. And we will be back to talk Benfica versus Monaco shortly. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Burroke77 here with my main man, Brad Thomas. Next up, we got Benfica versus Monaco. And okay. So Monaco took a red card last game. Benfica got a gritty road win in France, who has been extremely tough this entire tournament. Shout out the French teams, not getting enough credit. You are on the road playing a Benfica team who, yes, has struggled this season, but has a little bit of the European pedigree, whereas Monaco, not so much. I think the numbers are pretty good here on Benfica at minus 120. I like them at home. I don't know if they scored two. I think minus 150 is pretty heavy juice. I think the over, look, I think that Monaco can score here. I really do. I think they had an unfortunate, I think it was a double yellow for a red, or maybe it was a straight red. I can't remember off top, but I don't know. I think it's going to be tough to score two here. What I'm really looking for here is player props. I don't hate getting involved with Benfica on the money line, but player props is definitely where I see a lot of value in this game.
Yeah, this game, this number is going to take off. Like, I think the over is going to close at minus 210. First match they played against each other was like, I'm spitballing off top of my head, 2-3 or 2-4 or something like that, Champions League. Then they play this 1-0 kind of like stinker that was heavily weighted by a red card in like the 50th minute. I don't even know why that dude was playing, right? Like, dude had only allotted like 50 minutes in Ligue 1 all season. I like the over again here. I just feel like Monaco's the kind of team that you want to be down on aggregate if you're a total better. Because first of all, they can't defend to save their lives. Second of all, they have no fight, no quit in them, right? So if they're down 1 or down 2 on aggregate, they're fighting. Well, same goes for Benfica, especially in Portugal. I'm not going to recommend this bet because I think the number is actually destroyed now, and I'm just going to check real quick. That's minus 120. I went over 3 in this game. I think that we see the 3 goals, a chance to see 4. This is probably one of the more exciting games, and I'm not going to just say some stat that's made up, but from what I've noticed, a lot of legs that are low scoring in the first leg
tend to be high scoring.
have a very high tendency of being high scoring in the second leg, especially with two teams that fill it up, two teams that can score, and two teams that can concede as well. Benfica play with this kind of like weird bravado where when they play, they're not going to sit in a match and be like sit deep and defend the lead. That's not how they play, right? Bruno Lage is not that kind of manager. He's the kind of manager that plays his game because I think he would rather just remain on the front foot or at least be quick to the ball because he'd rather lose playing their way than die by just conceding up a ton of shots. And I think that is a reason why you always want to see the over in their games. Not why you want to see them, but why the over's never dead in Benfica matches. So I went with over 3.
Yeah, I like that. I like over 3 with a push for 3. Minus 120, still a playable number in my book. What I want to get to here is obviously player props. Pavlidis is on an absolute tear. And despite Benfica being at home, you can still get a nice number on his anytime goal scorer. He's had a hat trick versus Barcelona in a very sloppy track where it was 4-5, something like that. Got the lone goal in the red card match in the reverse fixture. He's the guy that you're going to want to depend on here. Pavlidis at plus 155 for an anytime goal looks really, really good to me. Ben Seeger has been playing really well for Monaco. I'm a fan of Mbolo. I think that he plays really well. I like him for the Swiss national team?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Switzerland.
Yep. He's big. What's his name? Oh, I'm gonna butcher it. Beerth, number 14 here, the other striker from Monaco, perfectly capable of filling it up. Akalucci, the right wing here. Akalush. We know he likes to jack up shots as well. So I think there's a lot of value on Monaco guys just to hit the rectangle once. The other thing I mention every single time in Champions League, especially in elimination game, and I know you didn't get it last game, but Otamendi for a card is always worth a look. He's old. He's Portuguese as fuck. He's a very quality veteran who knows what it takes to win. He's going to make professional fouls when he needs to. He's not afraid of getting booked. If they do advance and they play in the next round, he's not going to be super thrilled about missing, the home match, but he knows that that's the match you kind of rather miss than the elimination leg on the road when you need him in a do or die situation. He's also a giant target on set pieces. I think he had 3 shots last game. Granted, they got a red card and it was just get some volume, get shots on net until you see a goal fall. But Otamendi's always involved in set pieces, and him to take a shot at basically even money, I'm going to play it every single time, especially at the Champions League level.
Yeah, I haven't quite decided exactly what I'm going to do. I know for sure I'm going to be on Akalush over 2.5 shots. He's not their leading shot taker, right? That's Ben Seguir, but Akalush is the young. I think we have to stop calling him the young firecracker. Dude's like 22 years old. Like you say that for guys who are like 19, but he's the young guy who always breathes the life in their team, and he's plus money to take 3 shots. Benfica aren't going to give up a ton of shots early in this match, but as long as Monaco are down on aggregate, they're going to have to start trying. I know for sure I'm going to take him. I might just take both Ben Seguir and Akalush for 3 each and hope that one of them, if not both of them, hits because he's like plus 127. The only reason I didn't for sure take Seguir is because he had been battling injury and he got worked back in or whatever, but for some reason he logged a full game up a man in a game where they played 7-1 right before he's really needed. That just didn't sit right with me. Like, I don't ever wish injuries on anyone, Oaks. But if there were to be an injury candidate, it's him, right?
Yeah.
Get worked back in, and then the match before you have a midweek clash, a high stakes midweek clash, you go out and log 90 plus minutes doesn't make sense to me. So if it would be first half shots, I'd take his first half shots, but I'm really afraid that they're going to yank him at the 60, or, he just wears himself down.
Yeah, I completely understand that, and that's not wishing an injury on anybody.
Yeah.
That's being smart with your money and knowing the situation and knowing obviously the game management load here. I agree with you. I don't know why you play a guy fresh off an injury for 90 in a match where you're just completely dominating a team over the weekend, but I'm not going to take too much time to analyze what Monaco was thinking there. I just, yeah, he is a volume guy. He's a guy who's going to let go from anywhere too. If he thinks that he can see the back of the net, and I like that. I like unlimited confidence out of a guy who I'm going to take for 3 shots, a guy who's not going to let block shots bother him, a guy who knows that if he creates space, you take the space. You don't create space and then not take it. That's a waste of energy. That's bad football, especially in my opinion. Don't create space if you're not going to take it.
Exactly.
I also like Mbolo, especially on the road here in Portugal, where we know these guys can defend. They'll have the crowd behind them. Mbolo's a guy who's a big body. He's got wide shoulders. He can post you up. He can play back to goal. He can get the grimy shit. He can get the rebounds in front of the net. So I do like Mbolo for some of that greasy stuff in front of the net as well. And I will continue to say it until it hits or until Benfica's out of the tournament. If I see Angel Di Maria in here, he has a chance to tie Ronaldo's record with a single assist. I'm going to play his assist anytime I see him in the starting 11. I don't have a sportsbook that lets me play live assist props, but I don't care really what the number is as long as it's like plus 150 to plus 200 or better. I'm going to take Di Maria anytime he's on the pitch for an assist. I know he's dealing with some injury stuff. He is getting long in the tooth. Obviously, he's chasing down a Ronaldo record. That means you've been in Champions League a lot in your life, just to even be in that conversation. But when he is on the pitch, he's going to take almost all of their corners and a majority of their free kicks. So, yeah, I'm going to take his assist if he's in the 11. And like I mentioned, probably one of my favorite bets here, Otamendi, just to take a single shot at basically even money. Pavlidis for an anytime goal. And I will be taking Otamendi for a booking in an elimination game. It's just what he does. He's very, very good. He's a very capable professional center back that even though he is starting to get up there in age, he knows what it takes to win at the highest level. He knows how to get a yellow card when needed and make a professional foul, not turn into a red card kind of deal. So give me him, and I bet my cards over on BetUS because we do not get card props here in Michigan. So I use BetUS, where you can also find Brad doing the Champions League show. It'll happen after we're recording this, but it'll go live before this recording comes out. So be sure, tune in, check out Brad and Flash, who I do a show with as well on BetUS. Next up, we're going to have Dortmund versus Sporting, and we will catch you all in just a few. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Burrow77 here with my main man, Brad Thomas. And I got to be honest with you guys. I don't know what the fuck to do in this game. I'm on the wrong side of Dortmund every goddamn time. I can't figure them out in Bundesliga. They look like trash in Bundesliga, and then they somehow come out here, hang 3 on Sporting in Sporting's building, which is extremely tough to do. And they look like world beaters in Champions League. They made it to the Champions League final. They barely finished in the top 4 in Bundesliga. Right now, they're on the outside looking in Bundesliga, I believe, for top 4. It's just I can't figure this team out. They're at home. They're in front of the yellow wall. I want to say that taking them minus 105 is a layup. We saw a ton of money come in on Dortmund. Obviously, I don't know what's going on with Sporting either. I know there's friction there between Victor and the new manager / the ownership group when he was kind of critical of them. I don't know how you're not playing one of Europe's breakout goal scorers, one of Europe's breakout studs, the guy that, you know, your manager left to go to Man U, who wasn't going to spend money this transfer window. He didn't even really want the fucking job until the summer when they were going to rebuild the roster. They said, no, you're coming now or you're not getting the job. Now he kind of looks like ass, man. You looks like ass. Sporting's just kind of in shambles here for me, and they got 3 hung on them at home by a subpar Dortmund squad. I don't think they're going to be able. Their backs against the wall. They have to get up here. I don't see him scoring like 4 goals to overtake Dortmund at home in front of the yellow wall, but like I'm not prepared to ride with Dortmund. I don't know. I'm probably just going to end up playing the over 2.5 here. It's mad juice, but like I did with Nick the other week, I'm going to put it in a parlay. Like I'm going to have to take over 2.5 as a leg at -145 in a parlay. And if for some reason we see Victor, my tune might change. We'll see money come in on Sporting for sure if we see Victor, just so we're clear on that. But yeah, I don't know. I like the over 2.5 here, -145. It's juiced, but I can't find a way to get involved in a side here.
When it comes to Champions League, Dortmund are an entirely different team. Mind you, this is a team that just lost to Bochum, was it, right?
Yeah.
Just lost to Bochum. Freaking Bochum, right?
Relegation.
Dortmund can go out there. I want to, it was Bochum, 2-0. Dortmund can go out there and bless any team in Champions League. Then they play a Bochum. They play a Heidenheim. They play a Werder Bremen. They lose. And it is wild. So I stayed away from this match. I want to touch on what you said. Gyökeres is not playing. Not starting for this team is insane. And I could understand if like Harder was playing well. Yeah, I can understand if Harder was playing well in his stead, or if Pote wasn't hurt, but Pote's hurt and is not coming back for any time soon. But man, the yellow wall in Champions League, I like the over. I stayed away. Like even like situationals, I'm a big situational bettor when it comes to live betting. Even the situation betting for Sporting against Dortmund in leg 1, and none of the situational bets were good. I think the only one that hit was Sporting corners. Gyökeres didn't score. Sporting didn't get back. I think it was like they didn't get back the +1.5. Like their corner spread didn't hit. There was nothing worth it. And I like to monitor that kind of stuff for the next time, but it's all good.
Yeah, and this Dortmund team, they can play piss poor and still get results. Like, don't get me wrong. It was nice. It was a nicely done win by Dortmund when they beat Bruges 3-0 in the opening game of Champions League. Bruges should have scored 4. They just had some really bad ball luck, and Dortmund didn't look like world beaters that game. All their stuff came off the counter and on single chance like goals that they slotted home, and Bruges just wasn't getting the ball luck that day. Bruges dominated possession. They lived in their final third, and they had way more shots on target. They had like 3 or 4 hit the woodwork. Yeah. It was just bad ball luck for Bruges that day, and all the ball luck was with Dortmund, where they slotted pretty much every quality shot that they put on target got slotted home. And it's going to be just so tough for me to find value here because we're not going to get anywhere near the same value on Dortmund at home that we got in the away leg. So let me pull up the predicted 11s here. Again, this is 2 days in advance. I don't get FOT mobs. So to just make a visual for you guys, I use the last starting 11s, which you got to kind of assume they're kind of going to run them back and be the same. I rate Adeyemi super high. I've rated Adeyemi super high since he came off of RB Salzburg. I honestly don't know why Napoli didn't go out and buy him. Dortmund's not usually the club I think is like playing hardball. They have they're so good at developing offensive talent and flipping them for a profit. So when I was talking to Nick, he said it sounded like Dortmund was trying to play hardball with Napoli on the salary. I'm not sure if that's true or the transfer fee, but like Adeyemi, they denied him the move to Napoli, and they didn't sell him, and then they didn't start him the following match. Then they fired their manager. They got a new manager. He has been starting, but he hasn't been playing the full 90 because they do have a lot of offensive depth here. But I love Adeyemi to score assists at a plus number. And the other thing I mentioned last week is Julian Brandt takes every corner for this team. And Dortmund's pretty good at scoring off of corners. I have these graphics flip-flopped. I apologize. That's on me. But if you look over here, Brandt got 2 assists last game. I'm going to take Brandt for an assist again. It's over plus 200. That's kind of a must play for me on a guy who takes the set pieces. Schlotterbeck's worth a look for a shot. He will pull up from outside the box. He is a big target on set pieces. If Emery Chan's playing center back again, I know he didn't pick one up the game before, but Emery Chan is he's not super coordinated, guys. Like, he's an okay midfielder, but he's an absolute card liability. You're giving me Emery Chan to pick up a card at above plus 200 again. I'm going to take it. Ryerson's also a little bit of a hack. Sabitzer and Gross are both shooters from the midfield here. Bino Gittins is a guy I rate a lot. Gerasi, I need to double check whether or not he is going to be suspended on yellows, but he's the guy I like, who's going to be like a true 9. He's in. He's in. Okay, perfect. He's a true 9, so he's going to be like I know he got an assist, but like I'm not going to play his assist, and I'm not interested in playing his to score assist at a minus number. I'll play the wings to score assist at a plus number. Gerasi, I'm just going to take straight up for a goal if I get involved in this. And look, it's just really hard for me to get involved in sporting props, especially without Victor in there. Hader's not playing super well. Every time I bet Trincao, I'm on the wrong end of it. So always. I'm going to let somebody else bet Trincao, and I'm going to try not to be the mush.
Every time I bet Trincao, and I think the reason my problem with Trincao is every time it's a good Trincao. I mean, every time that it's a good Pote spot, I have to play Trincao instead because Pote's hurt. And so then I'm just like, well, this sucks. I've just wasted money on him. Player props. The only thing, if Gyökeres starts, that's the only thing I like. Take his goal. I take him 2+ shots on target. I am gonna take Sporting over 4.5 corners. Mind you, I think they only had 1 corner in the first half against Dortmund, and then the second half they had 3 to get 4. But now they're starting at a 3-goal deficit. They're gonna come out and fire. Like, unless they get down 2 goals early and they're in a 5-goal deficit, I don't see a world where Sporting doesn't come out and try to play this game aggressively, and Dortmund sits kind of chilling. It's even money for them to get 5 corners, right? Like, I mean, you live or die with that, right? Like, you'll be okay with if that dies on you.
Yeah. And Sporting absolutely have to come out on the front foot here. One thing I will say is, if you guys like the over, if you like the both teams to score in the over, if you're going to use the over in a parlay, play it now, play it early, because if Victor's in this lineup, that number is going to nuke. It's going to become over under 3 with the push really, really quick if Victor's in this lineup, especially at Dortmund. And you'll see money come in and shift towards Sporting. And I don't think that's necessarily a reflection of that Sporting's going to 100% win the game. But Victor gives them such a better chance at winning the game. And Dortmund has the goals to play with, where they're not going to panic, and they're not going to change how they play. They're not going to fall into a defensive shell. They're not going to play a low block, because that's not who they are. If they give up a goal or even 2, they're going to stay on the front foot and they're going to stay attacking, because Dortmund, they're just not built to play in a low block, especially not with freaking Emery Chan, midfielder who's a makeshift center back. Like, that's the other thing we don't necessarily talk about enough, I guess, for Dortmund, is like everything about this lineup all season has been piecemeal. They've fired managers. Like, you know, Dortmund's really kind of struggling after going far in Champions League and losing to Madrid last year. And they're I don't want to say long in the tooth, because they do have a lot of young talent, but all their young talent is forward and focused offensively. They haven't super taken care of the back end. You went out and got Pascal Gross, who's a nice player, but like you played him at right back a bunch this year, and that's not where you want Gross playing. Like if he's playing on as a right back, he's a right wing back who needs the permission to go and get forward and get involved in the offense. You can't expect him to play high level defense. He's giving you Lucas Vasquez bullshit out there.
Yeah, man. Okay, so like the bad back line for Dortmund, like that just makes me feel like you have to see goals in this game. Sporting aren't just going to sit there and just be like, oh, we're screwed. We're down 3-0. Like all of these teams in Portugal, especially the top Portuguese teams, are super prideful, dude. Like they're going to freaking try so hard. Even at, like, I don't know. Maybe
they want those auto qualifier spots for UCL next year. These guys don't want to play in the knockout rounds to qualify for UCL. Portugal is arguably, if they're arguably the fourth or fifth best league in Europe. They're right there neck and neck with France. You got Porto sucks this year too, by the way.
Dude,
I want to like Porto. I like Ganello. There's some guys over there on Porto I want to like. They can't find the back of the net for shit. Taremi leaving that team kind of unwound them. I don't expect the Portuguese teams in Sporting to lay over and die, but if you're not starting Victor, like, what are you doing? You're kind of rolling over and dying. So
what I don't get is, like, we haven't heard nothing about an injury,
right?
Like, what are we supposed to, like, what you can't, it's going to be the weirdest. It's going to come out. The truth is going to come out. So we'll see.
This is the biggest. There's not a player bigger than the club statement I've ever seen from a team. Like, you know, the only thing I could think that would be like a bigger statement than that is if like Pep is benching Haaland or Ancelotti's benching Mbappe. Like that's the level of goal scoring this dude's on. He did it in Euros. He did it internationally. He's done it for Sporting. There's obviously friction here with the manager change and with ownership group. Whether or not he wants to move, I'm not that deep into Portuguese Twitter where I have those answers for you, but there's clearly something going on here. And it's not that he's injured, because he's coming on as a sub and scoring goals. And they reluctantly put him on in the league when they need one. So we'll see. Back against the wall here, you kind of got to start Victor, but I don't know. It's just a wild situation. Wild.
Yep.
Anyway, guys, appreciate you tuning in. We will be back to talk PSG versus Brest here shortly. Until then, look forward to seeing you at the window. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Burrow77 here with my main man, Brad Thomas. Up next, we have PSG versus Brest. I don't know. It's going to be mighty tough to bet this one. I kind of like PSG on the -2. I doubt that -130 is the best number I can find. Again, my odds shopping tool is being kind of weird with me. They're only giving me DraftKings lines right now, which they're not the best. Take a look at the splits. They want 40 cents on the dollar. That's a trash ass number. So shop around, find a good one. PSG far better at home, and they haven't lost to Brest in the head-to-head in the data I could find. They went back to 1989. They have not lost a head-to-head with Brest. They've beaten Brest in all three head-to-heads this year. They had a draw a couple of years ago, but like, again, I went back to basically when the internet was invented, and before the French league, before PSG was PSG, before they got the oil money introduction, before they started rebuilding this club. They didn't have a major club in Paris that was dominating the French league. And PSG still has not lost this head-to-head with Brest going back to 1989, and that's where my data ran out. So, I like PSG at home in the Parc des Princes. I think they come out. They don't need to step on the throat. I think we see Kvaratskhelia this game for sure. I think you want to get him Champions League minutes. I think you want to get him Champions League reps. I know Barcola picked up a yellow card last game too, so I'm not 100% sure on his availability, but again, they have Kvaratskhelia, they have Doye or Danye, however you say it. So, and Kolomolani's just on fire.
God.
Like this,
Dude, Dembele.
Dembele. Sorry,
Yeah.
different.
I know what you meant.
yeah. And Dembele is a guy that I've talked mad shit on and has just completely beaten me senseless on this one. And all credit to him. He was a Barca guy who I obviously was biased against and did not super love. But he's looked good. And this PSG team, my whole thing is they don't have the Champions League pedigree. They always seem to fumble the bag. It doesn't matter who their manager is. It doesn't matter how much talent they went out and bought. You know, the Neymar, Messi, Mbappe experiment didn't work for them. This team is playing really, really good football, and they have a lot of guys that I like. And Barcola, I think Kenyon Lee's a good depth piece. Going out and getting Kvaratskhelia and finally selling Javi Simmons to RB Leipzig, I thought was maybe one of the best business moves they have made since the Qatar oil fund took over this club. It was the first like financially smart decision they've made that is looking at the long term and not just we need to win a Champions League this year. I think PSG has finally turned a corner and might be fixing the locker room culture here, might be fixing the club culture, and might finally be poised to make they've made the announcement of, hey, we're here to compete in Champions League, but they really haven't, because they haven't been able to advance past where their expectations are. I think they might finally have the team to do it here.
I really like this PSG team. I think they could win Champions League, actually. And I haven't said that in a while and meant it, even with Mbappe. This is a hard match to bet. And I'm gonna say this like softly. Like there will be some rotation. It's not gonna be some like backstreet guys, right? Like Kvaratskhelia is gonna play, probably. Kenyon Lee's probably gonna play. Like good guys are coming in.
Zaire Emery in the midfield.
I think he's hurt. I think Zaire Emery's hurt.
Oh, is he hurt? Okay.
Yeah, I think he's hurt. And listen, I don't know that for sure. I just think off the top of my head. For me, it was just hard to get down with bets in this game. Like,
yeah, it's a lot of tough numbers because rightfully so. PSG are a wagon at home, and they're up 3-0 on aggregate.
Yeah. So and they're playing a Ligue 1 side, so they're not like. I don't think PSG are going to be like, F this game. They're going to want to beat them.
Yeah. This is their fourth head-to-head this season. They've already played them twice in the league. They played them once on the reverse fixture. You're still getting Dembele at -125. Again, like I said last week with Kane, and -110 was playable for me. If you want to lay the juice at -125, I'm not going to shit talk you because the guy's just that hot right now. I'm probably going to parlay it with something, but I'll take Dembele for a goal. I might take Dembele for a brace because he's scored a hat trick, a brace, and a brace against this team in 3 head-to-heads this season. If I see Giancarlo Ramos out there, he's another kid I really like. Kvaratskhelia is a guy I like. Kenyon Lee's a guy I like. Doye has been playing really well for them. And this entire midfield's full of shooters. Let me pull up, the starting 11 from last game. Again, I'm not 100. I think if they do rotate, I think Barcolo's a prime target because I know this isn't his first card in Champions League, and you do have to be careful with guys on cards. I really like this midfield. I took all 3 guys in this midfield and Hakimi for a shot on target, all at plus numbers. They were away at Brest. You're not going to get plus numbers on all these guys, but Vitinha definitely is always good for a shot on target. Neves, good for a shot on target. Ruiz, good for a shot on target. Hakimi takes a bunch of set pieces, good for a shot on target. Clearly had the assist last game. Vitinha took the PK. There's shooters all over this pitch here.
Yeah. I surprisingly like Marquinhos shot on target. I think I don't know, and this could be like really bad thinking on my part. I just really believe that PSG don't even want to give Brest a little bit of life.
Yep.
Like Brest are still dangerous. They're still a legal side. They're still in your league, your domestic league. So I think they're gonna still play their game. And Marquinhos gonna get his head on it. It's like plus 170 for him to have a shot on target. My favorite thing about defenders that are point men on the corners is when your team's racking up a bunch, you're gonna get a couple of these horrible headers that the goalie catches, and you're like, well, that counts.
Yep. And the other nice thing about Marquinhos, he's Brazilian as fuck. He'll let it go from anywhere.
Yeah,
He'll let it go from midfield. Every Brazilian will. Like, it's just, and if you don't believe me, go watch Brazilian Serie A. There's 33 shots a game from both teams. Like, so yeah, I love that. I like Marquinhos for a shot on target. Like I said, Ruiz, Vitania, Neves, Hakimi. If Zaire Emery plays, and we'll see what this rotation looks like. Do we think Brest can get one here, especially with the rotation? Because
I think they
they've
can get
scored in both fixtures in League One, and they've been high-scoring fixtures.
I think they can get one.
I do too.
Well, in that first match, I can't remember what they had like a pretty good XG in that game. They just couldn't find the back of the net in the first leg. So
nice. All right, guys, we will be back. Not a ton to say on that one with PSV versus Juventus, where I know Brad will have a lot to say. Until then, we will see you shortly. Be sure to check out the links down below. My Discord, Dub Club with Flash, Brad's Discord. Be sure to like and subscribe right here on YouTube. It really goes a long way to helping me out and continuing to bring you guys free content each and every week, especially for Champions League. So thank you, Brad, for being here. We will be back shortly to talk about your favorite team, Juventus. What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Baroque77, here with my main man, Brad Thomas. We're talking Brad's favorite team. We got PSV versus Juventus. Brad, obviously a Juve supporter. You can see the jersey in the back. I also sent him a very nice shirt.
Yes.
One that I'm kind of rocking here.
I wear it all the time.
I got the 2 Foot Talk special. You can find merch links down below if you want. I got the Benz wrap one on. He's got Juventus versus everybody. Look, I like this Juventus side. We know how they play in Champions League, though. They are up a goal on aggregate. You're going into an extremely hostile environment in PSV. PSV are not pushovers, especially in Europe. You see the 2 stars above their crest. They've won this tournament twice. This isn't a fucking joke, guys. PSV is a real-ass club. They do have a lot of sting taken out of them, in my opinion, with no Ricardo Pepe. I have not liked what I've seen out of
and no Tillman.
What's up?
And no Tillman either.
Yeah, and no Tillman. I do know Tillman came on as a sub late in the last game. I don't know if he's fit enough to start for this one, so we'll have to see about that. But yeah, look, I haven't loved what I've seen out of Luke De Jong. He's struggled to finish, but he is Mr. European Night. And he's basically automatic from the PK spot. So you can't give up a PK to him. That said, this screams Juventus draw to me. This screams Juventus is going to play the Juventus game. They're going to try and grind out a 0-0 or a 1-1. They are up on aggregate, and it's it's frustrating because you're like, dude, I want to take Juve on the money line at plus 200. You're giving me them as dogs on the road up a goal, but this plus 270 looks like a fat runner to me. I could see it easily being I think PSV score at home here. I think the atmosphere is going to carry them. I actually kind of really like PSV to score first, get that energy under them, get the first goal, and then Juve is just going to wear these guys down. They're going to get the answer, and it's probably going to end 1-1. So I'm leaning the draw here at plus 270. Smart moves play the draw no bet on Juve. I'll tell you that right now. I'm going to take a stab and play the draw straight up. I like both teams to score. I for sure like both teams to score. I liked it last game. I like both teams to score. I like the over. It will depend on me for this PSV lineup. I know I was talking in your Discord when somebody was asking about both teams to score live. I might have given some bad advice, but I didn't love the lineup. I wanted to see Bakayoko in there because I think he's absolutely nasty. I wanted to see a little bit different lineup from PSV. I thought they went a little defensive on the road versus Juve, and I think it kind of bit them in the ass.
Yeah, I was on both teams to score in that game. But this is a totally different Juventus in this game than the first game because Cambiaso is going to be healthy. I think that's massive. Dude, listen, there was a bet I was going to smash it. When corners came out, I was going to be on PSV first half corner handicap. I would have priced it minus a half at minus 150. It came out minus 250. At that price, you might as well just take Juventus plus 1.5 on the first half corner handicap and just say, Juventus, you get 2, we win, right? Yep. PSV are going to come flying. Juventus don't really think they're going to go forward that much. This one is a massive, massive lineup check. So I made predicted lineups for this one, and I was thinking of how they played, how they would set up where they can still be in a good situation, but still a good situation defensively, but still go forward if this game gets leveled. They keep Cambiaso comes back, right? So you start Cambiaso. They put Turam there in place of, let's see who you have. Luis is out anyway. They put Turam in place of Luis. They play McKinney in the middle, but instead of him being attacking, he comes back to be holding. And so then that gives you Yildiz and Gonzalez playing underneath Muani. That is the Juventus lineup that I want to see because I think that gives them the biggest threat defensively where they can play a lot of hold-up play, but also if things break down, it's quick transition for this team to go out and score and make something happen. I think Juventus draw this match. Listen, Juventus still have the best defensive record in all of Europe.
Yes, they do.
If they can't go out and get at worst a draw, fireable offense.
Look, I don't disagree with you. The one bone I always have to pick with Juventus is, man, their fans just fucking hate Weston McKennie. I don't know why. He's the best player, and you might look. Muani is playing very well right now, and he is getting the buckets. But that fucking piss missile McKennie scored was absolutely world class. I like McKennie to take a shot. I don't hate McKennie to put a shot on target either. He's a big game player, and all he does is deliver in the biggest moments. Yeah. And I don't know what the bias is against Americans there. They don't seem to have the same hard-on against Timmy Way, but they tried to short McKennie on his contract. I thought it was bad, dumb business by Juve because without a doubt, for the entire season, despite what Muani's been doing for him, McKinney's hands down the best player in your starting 11.
He's
and
balling.
He can play every single position on the pitch. He could probably play goalkeeper. I know he's short, but like he's got hops. So you probably play every single position on the pitch. And he's got a mad engine on him. And like I've heard dudes picking on him because they think he's like kind of chubby or overweight. I don't know. I watch him play 90 minutes at full throttle every fucking game for you guys. So yeah. I don't know what the beef is with McKennie there. But I love Weston. I think it's going to be really, really difficult to beat this Juventus team who knows what it takes to win in Europe. They know what it takes to win Scudettos. This is one of the most decorated clubs in Italy this decade and the decade prior.
Yeah.
You just kind of got to go with the experience here. I know that they've been struggling with their manager a little bit with consistent starting 11s, but, you know, if you're giving me Muani too, where's Muani? He's plus 210 for an anytime goal. I'm probably going to have to take that. If I see Bakayoko in this starting 11, I'm probably going to have to take that. I do have to give credit where it's due. My boy Wanners, who tuned into the live show, gave out Perisic at plus 550. Dude. You cannot count out the ex-Serie A player playing against a Serie A side who's very, very good in Europe. If you see Perisic again, that was a great call by Wanners. I slept on it. I was like, Perisic is old. I don't know if I like that one. And he got an absolute worldie of a goal against you guys.
Dude, Perisic is our freaking – he's the Juventus slayer. And listen, speaking of which, if he starts, I'm taking him over 1.5 goal. 1.5 shots. 1.5 shots at minus 120. If Bakayoko starts, I'm going to take him over 2.5 shots at minus 140.
Yep.
One of them is going to start there. And I think one of them is going to cover that line in the first half. their line in the first half. So that's how I see it. I think listen, what did I have the projected? I had the projected shots for PSV at 15. That's a lot of shots to go around. But I couldn't. The reason I say that is I wanted to bet PSV team total shots over. The
Yeah.
books knew, dude. I think they said it
Oh, of
like 16 or
course.
17 and a half. They were
No.
like, oh yeah, 15. I mean, normally it'd be like 13 and a half. And they moved it all the way up to 15. So I moved it up to 16 or 17. So, but yeah, I like both of those guys. That's a lineup check. Just wait to see which one starts.
I also really like Noah Lang on the other wing too. I really rate Noah Lang. I think he's a very, very good player. I will also throw in the caveat of just it's European football. It's a European night. It's at PSV, who has been European champions. I would not be surprised if we see 3 to 5 minute match delay here at the beginning of the game because they can't get the flare smoke off the field to see
dude.
the pitch. This building is going to erupt. This is going to be one of the rowdiest atmospheres in Europe this week. I like Juventus. The smart play is the draw no bet. You can find that plus 120 over on Caesars. That's the best number. Plus 110, pretty much. You're getting a plus number on it anywhere you go. But plus 120 is the best number. I'm going to take a stab on the draw as a solo. I do like both teams to score. If you guys want to throw a dart at a 1-1 exact score, that's kind of what I'm feeling. It sounds like that's kind of what Brad's feeling.
God, if you want to unload on PSV player prop shot props, I'd just like have at it. This is one of those games where I wish we had first half shot props still because
I know, dude. That market was a cheat code, and they know. Veerman and Schlauten, or however you want to say it, here in the midfield. Good targets for set pieces. The nice thing about PSV is like all of these Dutch teams are just full of dudes that are like over 6 foot. Like, you you take a look at the Dutch national team. I don't think they have a player registered under like 5'11" on the national team squad. Anyway, appreciate you guys. Be sure to follow us on social media at Burroke77. Brad's links are down in the description, and we will be back to cover the final game. You know we had to save the best for last. It's Real Madrid versus Man City. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Burroke77 here to talk about our 8th and final UCL matchup. You know we had to save it for last. It's Real Madrid versus Manchester City, and the disrespect is palpable. Minus 115 at home in the Bernabeu. Are you fucking kidding me? Listen, I know we're up on aggregate. I actually like that Lucas Vasquez isn't going to be available again for this match. We play better without him. I cuss him out all the time. He is a winger who just gets stuck at right back because we need somebody, and he wants, like, I don't know, he might be Dom Prez's nephew or something, the way that this guy finds his way on the team every single year. I know he's an academy product. Madrid's loyal to their guys, but I'm really just sick of looking at him be a complete liability and playing higher up the field than Rodrigo, guys. So with Fetty back there playing right back, I love what Asensio's been bringing. Word is Rudiger has been training. I'm not sure if he's going to be back for this one. So my big thing is, will we see Mendy or Fran Garcia playing left back? I like Fran Garcia. I think that he's really underrated. I think he's got a super good motor on him. I think he's got great get back speed. I think even though he's very short, he's much better at defending corners than Mendy. And I'll tell you right now, Fran Garcia doesn't fluff that wide open shot that fell to Mendy's feet in the 6-yard box. Like, Fran Garcia is too good at shooting and executing and playing offense than Mendy. So whatever. It's not like Mendy is a huge downgrade. I'm just saying I kind of like Fran Garcia better. I think Real Madrid minus 115 at home at the Bernabeu is disrespectful. I think these numbers are all out of whack here. Man City is the underdog, but their money line is better than the draw, which is like 50. It's significantly worse. Madrid's up on aggregate. I really just don't see City coming in here and handling their business. They haven't looked good all season. They needed some help there from Bruges scoring an own goal in a game they were down, in a game where they were facing elimination. and they were down at half to Club Bruges at home in the Emirates. Madrid's minus 700 to advance right now. I'm holding the minus 110 to advance ticket because if you guys remember on Twitter, I said, go find a loan shark, refinance your house, take out high interest loans on your credit card, cash advances, go get a title loan on your truck. Madrid's not losing that game. They didn't. So you should have a lot of money here. Madrid's going through. I think they handled their business in regulation. I'm all about taking the money line here at minus 115. I don't hate both teams to score. I'm not going to try and talk anybody on playing Holland at plus money. He scored a brace versus us. He's going to take their PKs plus 130 on an anytime goal scorer. Kylian Mbappe plus 100 on an anytime goal scorer. The line here for the over-under doesn't make a whole ton of sense to me. Madrid to score 2 is minus 210, and Man City to score 2 is plus money, but the over 3.5 is minus 118. Like, something's just not jiving there. Madrid's line, it probably would have made more sense for me to put the over 2.5 here, but like, it just makes for a clear visual on how something's not jiving here with the totals. So if they think Man City really is more live than the draw, they're probably going to need to score 2 here. So if you want to take the plus 106, if you're a Man City fan and you want to be on that side, that's how I'd play it, because I'm not getting involved at them at plus 270. They don't want to go to extra time, and they certainly don't want to go PKs with Madrid, not with Courtois in net, not after what happened last year. So I don't know. I'm all Madrid here. I like minus 115. I'm on them to advance. Please give us something a little less biased.
I'm on City plus a half. For me, I got it even money, and I always like to think like, what happens at late game situations, right? Like if Madrid are up late game in this, we know these guys are dropping to a low block. They're probably gonna be letting City have long spells of the ball anyway, because when you have dudes like Vinny and Mbappe, you can destroy this team on the counter. I
Especially
think
if
that
they're going to high press us like they did last game.
Yep. I think if Madrid are up in the 80th minute, we might not see anybody cross that 50-yard mark, which means City are going to be the ones pushing for the goal. Gives me a little bit more outs in terms of having to pick someone to win. I don't need to. I just need to pick draw or better. I don't know what to think of City yet. They aren't good, but it's a lot of weird things that happen. They kind of sometimes neuter themselves in games where it's too much passing, not enough moving. But then sometimes in other games, they try to make these huge, massive movements of players where they're so far out of position, the next guy who's supposed to be covering that space is nowhere to be found. Doesn't work against Madrid. But I did like, and my God, I'm going on record about to say this. I did like the thought process about bringing Stones in, but it didn't last long. Like what they were trying to do didn't last long. Then they got comfortable, and Madrid said, "Oh, you're comfortable now? Boom, we're going to own you." I think this is a draw. I think City have a chance to get something out here, but Madrid doesn't care if it's a draw, right? They're like, we're advancing. So for me, I saw it was a little bit of value. Man, City have just been so lackluster. There's value on them to score twice, but it's so
That's
hard,
my thought
man.
process too. Like, looking at the discrepancy between the over under here and the team total over under, I agree. I think there is value on City to score twice here. Plus 106 is a mighty good looking number on them to score twice.
Yeah.
Especially with the later game scenarios like you were talking about. On the road at the Bernabeu, knowing you need goals to go through. Like, I can see, I don't know if they can put it together. And like you were saying, I think Pep is just, I think he bought into his own hype a little bit too much. I think that he got a little big for his britches. He was like, okay, well, whatever. We're missing Rodri. We'll figure out how to play football again. But now he's just in his own mental box where I don't think he knows what he's doing, because I haven't seen City play a high line and a high line like that. I think he saw his old Barcelona team
Yeah.
beat Madrid twice doing that, and he goes, I'll do what Hansi Flick's doing, and I'll play him like that. Well, you don't have the same talent.
Not even
And
remotely.
also, it's Champions League. You don't if you want to play that way against Madrid in Champions League, that's on you. Like, nobody on your squad's catching Vinny. Nobody's catching Mbappe. Bellingham's too good. Now Madrid's not a perfect team. Like, there's a lot of stuff they could do better. But I think that they're comfortable defending. I think that Fede Valverde makes them better at right back. I think that, whether it's Dani Ceballos or Modric in the midfield, I think Camavinga and Tchouaméni are very, very good players. I think Tchouaméni actually looks great at center back, considering he's a midfielder playing out of position, and he's covering for Vasquez, and he's got Asensio, who was very fresh and young, but now looks like an absolute world beater. He looks like, and I hate to say it, but I really hope Militao comes back from both knees being injured and looks great again, because I thought he was one of the best center backs on the planet when he was healthy, but it's just really tough to come back from 2 knee injuries like that and play center back.
Yeah.
But, again, I think that we have good depth. I don't think we're as injured as people say we are. Let's take a look at just some of these lineups real quick, so you guys can get a visual on what I'm talking about. With Fede playing right back here, Tchouaméni being next to him, Asensio, Mendy or Fran Garcia, doesn't super matter to me. To me, I think Fran Garcia is playing better football right now, but Mendy's not a bad player. His 6.6 rating here was deserved, because he fluffed a sitter in the 6-yard box and kind of struggled to defend corners as he typically does. I thought Ceballos played great, especially in his defensive actions. I am not with the guys on Twitter who say that Dani Ceballos is fitting into the Toni Kroos role perfectly. No, the fuck he's not. Have you seen him put a long ball over the top yet? Because I haven't. And that's Toni Kroos' bread and butter. We didn't have Toni Kroos for defense, guys. Toni Kroos had over 90% career accuracy on long ball breakout passes. That's Toni Kroos is back there playing quarterback. I like what Camavinga can do passing from the midfield. Bellingham does not get enough credit, and neither does Rodrigo, for how they play defensively, how their work rate off the ball. And Bellingham is a midfielder, despite everybody want to say, well, he's just a striker for you guys. No, the fuck he isn't. He's been playing midfield the entire time for us. Sorry if this was your first time watching a pivot be played with his position, but that's what he was supposed to do. Now he's playing more midfield. But yeah, I really like this team. I think we win. I'm gonna play them on the -115, because I have to do it. Otherwise, I have the to advance ticket, but if I don't support my club, then what am I doing? It's also Madrid in Champions League. If you put -115 on them at the Bernabeu, that's just disrespectful to me. So yeah, and Madrid's also never dead. As they proved last game, and they proved time and time again in Europe. If you think that you've beaten Madrid and that clock and that ref hasn't blown the whistle and that clock hasn't hit 0, you just got way too cocky, and you're going to get humbled real quick.
Yeah, I agree. I will say this. Are we talking about props yet?
Yeah. Talk about props.
In that first match, Mamouche wasn't on the starting 11. Grealish is now hurt. Doku may be out. He's questionable. I think City's only choice is to put pressure on that back line with pace, with guys who can make those forward runs. Doku, Mamouche. I like Mamouche over 2.5 shots. It's plus 126. I think he's going to be aggressive. I think he has to. I don't love it if Haaland plays. Haaland had a knee injury last match, didn't get any x-rays, so I don't think he's hurt. So I think if Haaland's lungs, he's walking, he's playing, but just be on the lookout for that. Is if he's not in, if Haaland's not in, I'm smashing our moose props. This game was weird from a prop perspective too. It really just depends on how City lines up. That will dictate every player prop that I think.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you. One thing I was really surprised is Pep didn't start Kovacic, and
Yes,
as a
I was really
forward,
surprised.
he's back home at the Bernabeu. I think that's a guy you gotta have in your starting 11 because he's also the only guy who, with consistency, ignores Pep's bullshit on the sideline about, oh, we have to play fucking tactically perfect football and move the ball here and this, and we gotta dominate possession. Kovac is the only guy on that team. They'll just go, no, fuck you. I can beat the man in front of me, so I'm gonna dribble him. I'm gonna take it 20 yards, and I'm gonna put a piss missile in the top corner because he can do that and he gets away with it because he's got the trophies to back it up. I also love Garvidal to take a shot, especially from outside the box. He's got a nice little corner here in like the top left corner where he hangs out, and he loves letting it fly from there. I know he got an assist last game. Aki's another guy, especially with Akanji out, who I think will shoot for City from this back line. I really like Savio. I thought he was fantastic for Girona. I'm actually surprised at how much tick he's gotten for Man City. I thought City just bought him so Girona couldn't have him, and he was going to be a deep bench stash. And it's worked out great for him. And I will admit I was wrong there because I thought he was absolutely nasty at Girona. I love him for Brazil. He's such a good quality winger who can distribute as well as get you shots on target and goals when you need them. But yeah, this is going to be really lineup heavy for me too. Cause like, I don't know, do you run KDB back out there? Like this whole team looks kind of washed, and I don't want to hear the injury and the tired legs excuse because Madrid might play 80 games.
You have to have KDB out there. I think because what do? Like, you're not putting Gundogan out there, not Gundogan and Kovacic, like you. So
right.
I think that's the problem. Is like they have to have KDB out there. Like they have no other choice.
This team needs to get into this lineup. Like that's the other thing. Like, is Foden good? Or does he suck? Like, I don't know. He goes so hot and cold for me. Like, do you put Foden in here? I don't know. Those are concerns that I'm glad I don't have, and I'm glad that I'm not a Barcelona/City fan because that's who's going to be cheering against us. But I'm very comfortable with my 11 and what I think is going to happen for Madrid. I would be again, I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I think that playing the double chance for City is a smart play because a draw gets Madrid through, and you know, your later game scenario I think has a lot of merit to it. But I don't know, man. If you're a City backer or a Barcelona fan who's just out here hating on Madrid, I think it's really hard to get behind the City team coming to the Bernabeu.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm the kind of bettor who's like, I don't really get too upset with losses when I know that I'm getting good value and good situational spots. Like Arsenal versus Man City earlier, like a couple weeks ago. That was a great spot to take City double chance.
Yep.
And what happened to them deserved it to happen. They deserved to get destroyed like that. You turn the ball over on the wrong side of the pitch too many times, they're going to capitalize. And the same thing's going to happen with Madrid. If you get stretched and players are out of position, you turn the ball over, Madrid are going to get in behind and they're going to score.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the key, right? Is we both do this all day, every day.
Yep.
We're in it for the long game. We're looking at 365 days a year, not just to be up at the end of every single day. That's obviously the goal. We obviously don't bet with the intention of losing, but you know, taking value where you find it is perfectly reasonable. Like I said, I definitely don't hate the City team total. I think Brad is very on with his City double chance bet. Just as a fan, it's clear how biased I am, guys. I'm wearing a Ben shirt. I got a Madrid flag behind me. Like, I have a rooting interest in this game, and I'm going to talk highly about my club and my team.
Yeah.
Dude, I could not believe you were giving me like plus 700 on Madrid to win the Champions League coming into this fixture. I couldn't believe we were even money to advance. Like,
hell yeah.
I thought that was a very good price, and I'm very happy to have that ticket. But anyway, Brad, thank you so much. I will not eat up any more of your time
Thanks for having me.
talking about Madrid, because I know we'll be texting and calling each other. This one does depend a lot on lineups for both of us. The values there and the sides and the totals that we talked about. The Madrid props I'm looking at, Vinny to score or assist in Champions League knockout rounds is almost automatic. I think he's done it in every game except for one versus Chelsea in the last 3 years. So Vinny to score or assist is a must play for me. Mbappe, you can get him at even money to score a goal. I think that's really tough to turn down. Rodrigo's been on a heater. Bellingham to score or assist against an English club. The narrative writes itself there. Plus, what just happened with him with the referee over the weekend, getting sent off for a red card dissent, which I don't know if has happened before in soccer. That's really, really out of pocket by the referee. So we'll see what's going on there. But there's plenty of value on the Madrid side. There's plenty of value on the City side. City is going to be heavily dependent on lineups. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Appreciate Brad for joining me. Be sure to check out all the links down below for Brad's social media, my social media, Discords, sign up promo codes for BetUS. And please, please, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe right here on YouTube, youtube.com/@BurOaks772. And that's it for us. We look forward to seeing you at the window. Until next time, Oaks out. Doses. We outside.